She texting all of her friends, like look at the whip that we in. We coolin' for the weekend, drop the top and then we out. We do this every season. Sunshades on the sunny days, doing 80 and we switching lanes. Just keep it cool and chillin' with the babe. Don't call my phone, I hear what you say, or what you say. We ain't gotta keep this on the low. Don't do it fast, we can take it slow. Show you things that you ain't seen before. Before you go, you ought to know. I won't be catching feelings. be catching feelings. She got me catching feelings. I can't be catching feelings. She got me catching feelings. We coolin' for the weekend, drop the top and then we out. We do this every season. Sunshades on a sunny day, doing 80 and we switching lanes. Just keep it cool and chillin' with the babe. Don't call my phone, I hear what you say, or what you say. We ain't gotta keep this on the low. Don't do it fast, we can take it slow. Show you things that you ain't seen before. Before you go, you ought to know. I won't be catching feelings.
Hello everybody, hope you've had an amazing weekend so far. Of course, OBS is complaining that it's very slow right now. That's great, it should pick up in a little bit, hopefully. Have a little bit of news unrelated to the channel, just about me. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to start using a different music streaming service instead of the one that I'm currently using. So if you've been like a long time viewer of the channel, you might know that I've been using YouTube Music for my streaming. I have it linked to my GitHub to just show what I'm listening to and stuff like that. They have currently raised their price up to about £11, where it used to be like £10. They've increased it by £1, and some of you might think that's only £1 difference. Why is that an issue? Well, there are services like Qobuz and Tidal which also charge around £11, literally like £11 on the dot for high-res audio, whereas YouTube Music is lossy audio, not lossless. So with Tidal and Qobuz, you can get lossless audio for basically the same price as what YouTube Music is offering. So I have now moved to Tidal because of this. I tried out Tidal and Qobuz this morning, just like getting a feel for both of the applications, and from what I can see, Tidal is better if you're not listening to like out there genres. Like if you're listening to most normal music, like English music, rap, hip hop, like normal English rap, hip hop, rock, classical, whatever. If the music you're trying to find is just English genres and it's just English musicians, it's pretty good. And if they're well-known musicians, pretty good. I don't listen to that. I listen to Korean hip-hop, Korean R&B, jazz, a little bit of rap and hip-hop, like normal English music, like Eminem, who else? What's his name? Heady One. Like, I listen to a variety of music, right? I also listen to like some old school stuff like punk, rock, Angels Airways, for example, Fallout Boy, Jimmy World, I can't think of any more right now. Gavin DeGraw, like Papa Roach, like old school albums. Not really old school. I'm not really like old school, but like decent back in the day. If you're listening to like old school stuff or like really not niche, you're fine. The main problem with Kobas is the discovery of new music that you want to listen to. I use most music services like YouTube Music and stuff as a way to recommend new artists to listen to. Because if you're just listening to the same thing over and over again, it gets kind of repetitive and annoying, which I don't particularly like. Then I tried out Tidal, and it's kind of the same, where their discovery isn't as good, but they have a lot more. It's a lot easier to find niche artists and stuff like that on Tidal than it is to find them on Kobas. Like, for example, I was looking up Korean hip hop, right? If you search up Korean hip hop on Tidal, you'll get a ton of playlists back of either people who listen to Korean hip hop making the playlists themselves, or just ones made by Tidal. If you do that on Kobas, you'll just get K-pop, and you might think, oh yeah, K-pop and Korean hip hop are basically the same. They sound very different. It's like comparing normal pop to hip hop, or like Korean R&B to when you search up like Korean R&B, you'll get K-pop instead of actual Korean R&B. And what they recommend as like a genre is just BTS music, which I'm just sitting there like, there's so much more on it, right? Like you can search up the artists and they're there. It's just that the playlists that Kobas make themselves don't include them. Not even they just don't include them. And they're good artists. They get a ton of listeners. It's just apparently not enough listeners on Kobas themselves. So I've switched over to Tidal, and we're going to be listening to music from Tidal from now on. I know people are looking at the playlist that I was listening to before on my GitHub. It's going to be a bit of discrepancy between the music that I'm listening to on Tidal and the music that you're going to be able to listen to on your music streaming service. Unfortunately, that's just how it's going to be for a little bit until I find a service that is decent for everything. I really hope. I know there's been a whole lot of controversy with Tidal. Ooh, it's towards today. With Tidal's MQA feature, and I very much hope that they fall back on that decision, that they don't use MQA for everything, because I'm now using Tidal. It's just that now I'll still get I'll get high res audio, but not lossless audio, which is still crap, but it'll be better than what I was getting on YouTube Music. I would really have hoped that I could have used Kobas, because then I could just buy USB Audio Player Pro and just listen to music that way. But it looks like until Kobas gets decent Korean hip hop and Korean R&B, I'm probably not going to use them. I do hope that their music library does start to accommodate those genres better there. Let me just get a track going. Let's go with on Tidal, oh yeah. Oh, sick. Tidal just picked up my DAG immediately. That's insane. Okay. That's pretty cool. The playlist is called K-pop Chill Out. When it's not really K-pop, it's got hip hop and rap in here. Just the description literally says lo-fi and synth heavy tracks. So there we go. I would say so far. Sounds pretty good. Anyway, that's enough faff for now. Let's get into Elixir. Mm-hmm. Not sure if this is right. Let's just see what's failed. Interesting. So wherever in 2 it's just got an OK. What's it doing then? Oh, so it's just started it. It's going to do 1 + 1, but the result hasn't been calculated yet. So it's just going to return OK as a optional. Okay. Interesting. This gets nil. When I've done 9. So what's it doing here? Okay. Oh, I didn't read it. So this says sleep for 100 seconds, right? And then do 9 × 9. What this is saying is you want to yield on handle. Handle is just asynchronous task, which will be running in the background. So it will expect 100 seconds to pass. Because you're yielding, you're saying, I don't care about the result anymore. After 10 seconds, just yield. Because you're sleeping for 100 seconds, you haven't calculated the 9 × 9 yet, so you're just going to get a nil or null response. I'm assuming that'll be false because you're shutting down the process before it continues. Yeah. Okay. So I'm assuming this will be code running. Agent Smith and 1. Oh. I'm assuming this is what it does. I'm not entirely sure. So that's greeter. So that's greeter and then and 1, right? So that does. So this on line 6 is the greeter, which is just hi there, right? Then it just uppercases the string, So it'd be capital high and then there. I think. Because there's no split, so I wouldn't know why it would... No, I think it would be high there, all caps. Because it's taking the first argument. Okay, so here we've got a list of milk with the greeter name, with the name groceries, right? Then all you're taking is groceries, and then returning a tuple of bread, old, some milk, and then... Ooh, okay, hang on. So you got old list. Assert odd list is equal to bread, and then no, this will be equal to milk, then this will be equal to bread. So stoppable, so that'll be false. Why is it like that? Hang on, I just need to check what that does again. So we've got old, then bread or old. Okay, so milk would make sense because milk's already there. Then and one. Okay. Why does it do bread and milk? Shouldn't it do milk and bread? Why does it do bread and milk? I don't know why. That's very confusing. Gen servers. That holds the PID of the server. Okay. A tuple that holds the PID of the server. So okay, so this looks like where it starts. Where is laptop? Get password. Manufacturer is Apple Inc. Get type is MacBook Pro. Processor 2.9 gigahertz Intel Core i5 memory. Ooh, okay. $8192. Then this is Intel Iris graphics. X7N9. Error, incorrect password. Name check. Incorrect password. Laptop owner name. Jack Sparrow. Nice. Oh, okay. We're gonna have lots of that, guys. Oh, so it returns a list. Okay. Interesting. Okay. For the one that I did do it for, it... God damn it. What's the difference between those assertions then? Okay, that is laptop unlock equal... Oh. Okay. So this is the one that's wrong then. So this is... okay. Because you're saying that you're getting an optional and the value. You want to return only the value. You don't care about the optional that you get back. Yeah, so this one doesn't care about the optional. That makes sense now. We're getting there. So you have a musician that goes to artist perform. Oh, hang on. So that is... for musician, it is musician name. So Andre played violin. This is dancer. So this is Darcy performed ballet. Then we've got a painter. Artist showed performance. Can't show performance. Hang on, I'm just trying to figure out what the... it would be a... maybe? Unidentified error, there we go. Which makes sense, it's just that I didn't see it. I don't know what the exceptions are in this. Oh, you have to actually specify protocols. Okay. So it's protocol dot undefined, sorry. Ha! Oh! What was that weird popping sound? That's so weird. What was it doing? For some reason it lost access to my DAC. Hang on. Notifications of fine permissions. No. Storage and cache, that looks fine. That looks fine. Unrestricted? Okay, maybe it was just losing power? So it wasn't able to grab my DAC? That's so weird. No, what the hell? That's so weird. What's it doing? Okay. Does it need to be unlocked for it to use my DAC? Oh, that's gonna be so annoying. Why does it keep doing that? Oh, the pain. Let me see if there's like a setting in the Moondrop app. USB device control. Okay. Okay, well, we've got it playing for now. Let's see if my ears die. I've never had that happen on an IEM before. I'm not sure if that's completely right. Okay, so that just undoes the sublist. Oh, so it does. Okay, that's kind of cool. Yeah. So instead of grabbing index, it does it like a matrix kind of like imagine you've got like little big down this side and then dogs cats on this side. It does little dogs little cats, then it does the second row big dogs pig cats. That's pretty cool. There's certain things I do like about this language, and then some of them just aren't the one. Oh, so that makes it into a struct. Okay. So the way that this does it is, so on line 1, line 1 above this, it converts to a struct, which is why you have the percentage this, right? Then what it does is, because it's in a struct now, you've got your value, which goes into a list of, it goes into a string of the thing that you want to grab, right? So the next one does the same thing. It does pumpkin to pumpkin pie. Okay, generally don't think I've learned much while doing Elixir except for the syntax, which this is pretty much just syntax. Gen servers look pretty cool with how they could handle things and like unwrap things. Let me just go through everything and just talk about things I liked. Edit anyway. Okay, so in here everything's pretty standard. This combination operator to put things together, pretty cool. Split works pretty much the same. Contains works pretty much the same. Reverse works pretty much the same. Trim, same. Duplicate, same. Update, same. Then we've got numbers. I still don't like how they do integer parsing because I'd expect an exception to be thrown if you have a value that can't be parsed properly instead of a tuple of the thing that you want to do. Atoms. Atoms, I'm guessing, are just for atomics, so that kind of makes sense. Tuples are fine. Lists, pretty standard. Keyword lists, literally just a map. Maps. This is when like structs start coming in with optionals. Structures are okay, but the way that you grab stuff is very weird. The operations of a map is pretty good though. Same with map set. Structs. Syntactically, it looks okay. I just don't like how it's structured. Because it's you can understand it if you just imagine it like a normal class or something. where you have person as the class name, then field as name and age with getters and setters. Completely fine. You can just pass. It's like passing it into a constructor and just having public getters to retrieve everything. I just don't like. I don't like the structure, but I can understand why it's done this way because it's supposed to be kind of functional. Well, it's a functional language, I can understand it. Sigils are really cool. Short syntax to like do stuff, like basically what regex does, right? Where you have WS to do word matching, string matching. Pretty cool. That you're just given raw regex basically. Pretty cool. Pattern matching. Honestly, I prefer Rust pattern matching. Functions. Is the method reference in here? Or is it another one? Ah, yeah, remember. The only thing I like about this is similar to what you can do in Java as well. I think you can do this in Java as well. Is when you have a method reference and you pass in the actual method you want to use, you can pass in Java. You just pass in a lambda, which is just a method reference to the thing you want to execute, and then you can consume it as a lambda and grab the things you want to do, and like use it as you would like consume it, or like use it as a supplier to supply variables, or just consume it so that you can do whatever the hell you want with it. Very cool stuff. This kind of similar, but you can use it for arguments, which I think is a little better because you can see because you don't actually have to specify what argument, like assign variables to it. Whereas with a lambda, you know what variables it is. Lambdas are a little nicer because you know what the variables are, obviously. Whereas with this, if you want to reuse the variables, I don't know how you would do that. Like, let's say you have your method reference and you assign variables to them. I think you could maybe supply like letters so that you can reuse it in a function later on. I don't really like this syntax, but it's very cool that you can do this in this language. Enums. Enums are pretty standard. Processes. I don't know if I'm happy about processes or unhappy about processes. Because processes is just a normal process, that's fine. Tasks are basically threads where you can run them asynchronously. Having asynchronous tasks by default, asynchronous threads, sorry, by default, is very cool. And a thread will just, multiple threads will run in the same process, that's fine. You can, I'm guessing you can split them up on different processes depending on how you run it. The alive for it makes sense. Checking if it shut down makes sense. Yielding is normal. Awaits are normal. I prefer this to how Java handles threads, because Java, if you check for if the thread is still alive or something, it will just send an interrupt and interrupt it anyway. So at that moment, it will check that it's alive. If there's an interrupt that could happen at the same time, it will just swallow that interrupt and continue going while you're checking if the thread is still running, which sucks. So you basically have to have like a atomic boolean or something to set that the thread should be running or something, and then afterwards you just let the thread die in the background. That if the thread is, if you call is running on that thread again, if it's already false, you just return false, and you like literally just interrupt the thread again. That's basically how most people handle threads in Java, because you have to just have a wrapper around it, because normal threads in Java are just supposed to run indefinitely. I like this because for now I haven't seen any blocking that could happen or any interrupts that could be swallowed, sorry. But I'd need to look under the hood to know if that's how it works or if that's not how it works and stuff like that. Might be one for the next stream. Agents just sound like workers, where you have like in Java you can have a executor service or like a fork join tool. I'm assuming that's what an agent basically is, where you can supply it stuff to do and it will just work on it. It's like an executor service maybe. Gen servers. Gen servers look cool. I'm hoping that all of this is just asynchronous and non-blocking. Yeah, I'm hoping it's just all asynchronous and non-blocking. Protocols. This looks like how you should do composition in Elixir instead of using abstraction. Inheritance, sorry. The main reason being you never want to really inherit from a abstract class or something. You always want to just have composition and implement from an interface. I like this a lot more. Inheritance is still, you can still inherit from an interface, which is fine. I just don't like classes. This looks a lot more like composition, which I'm in favor of. I think it's pretty good, yeah, because you just have a default implementation and you can just override in your custom implementation of the current interface, which is fine. Comprehensions. Which one was really cool? Oh, the matrix for the 4 is very cool. I've never seen a language do that before. Most languages you'd need to, well, it does technically have 2 indexes with X and Y, but the syntax for it looks a lot nicer than doing it in something like Java, which is very verbose, but it's pretty cool. Then the collection is pretty cool when you're on line 15, where you can just pass in a collection with the way it extracts parameters and then does something with it. That's pretty cool. And then the struct on line 28 is pretty cool, that you can just specify that you want to what you want to turn it into and then do an operation on it. In Rust, I don't think you can do that. You can do a unwrap into unwrap. Oh, I've forgotten what the thing is in Rust. Hang on. It is PNG. There you go. Hang on. I think it's in this one. Unwrap, yep. Oh, does it not do it in this one? It might be in PNG. Dash try from, dash from str. That's an unwrap. That's a 2. That's a try from. That's a from. Oof. I'm gonna have to look through this, aren't I? I know it's somewhere. As bytes, iter, copied, collect, that's fine. Chains, that's fine. Oof. That's an unwrap. Try from and then unwrap. So you can specify the thing you want to convert from, then unwrap it into the thing you want to unwrap it into. So you're getting a U8 of 4, and then you want to unwrap into a chunk type. And chunk type is literally just a chunk type. Pretty cool. Literally very much the same thing as, which one was I looking at? It was this into, yeah, your try from and then unwrapping into the thing that you want it to be. Very similar. Syntax in Rust makes a little bit more sense, just because you're specifying that you want to go into it and then unwrapping in case something bad could happen. Whereas in this, I don't know how it handle the exception if it does throw one. Like, let's say, for example, oh no, it's a functional language, so I just typecast it. Okay. Well, I'm assuming it will typecast it. I want to do a project in this just to like give it a whole chance of, oh, I've used the language, I understand how it works, and I'm able to like competently try to build something in it. So I've got a project in mind that I want to build, and I'll just push this up and talk about it as, hang on. Okay, cool. So that is Elixir Coins officially completed, and a lot faster than when we done Rustlings. Obviously, there's a lot less to cover in Elixir Coins than there was in Rustlings, but considering that we're finished, that's pretty cool. So let's talk about the project that I want to implement in this. It's called the Toy Robot in Elixir. Some people probably have heard of this. Some people might not have. I'll just go over this for the people that don't know what this is about, right? I've obviously been doing some research on this because I've been looking at projects. So this is a project that is normally asked in interviews. I've been asked about this project as well in not Elixir, obviously, but in JavaScript, where let me just go down to what it does. So that's fine. So you're a robot, right? On a grid or whatever. The robot can move on the surface of your grid, and any movement that would result in the robot falling from the table is prevented. However, further valid movement commands are still allowed. You can place the robot in any X, Y, or Z position. Move, left, right, or report. Move is just moving forward. Place will put the robot on the table in X, Y, and facing north, south, east, or west. That's F for face. Sorry, not Z. The origin 00 is southwest most corner. All commands are ignored until a valid place is made. Move will move the robot 1 unit forward in the direction it is currently facing. Left and right rotates the robot 90 degrees in the specified direction without changing the position of the robot. Report announces the X, Y, and axis the robot is facing. Position the robot is facing, sorry. File is assumed to have ASCII encoding. Cool. Just normal text then. It is assumed that the place command has only one space, that is place 1, 2, north, is an invalid command. All commands must be in uppercase. All lower and mixed case commands will be ignored. All that may seem overwhelming and stuff. They'll chunk it together, tackle it one chunk at a time. I want to give this book a go just to see how I get on, and because I really like the style of PNG Me, where I wasn't 100% sure how to implement it, but because of the tests and everything, and like, oh, things broke, I could like muddle my way through of how to try to solve it. Yeah, there were some cases where I did steal some code, I did copy paste, I did this, I did that, but I still tried to suss my way through it and figure it out myself. And only when like the test started getting shorter, where I was getting some tests failing because I just didn't know why they were failing, and like when I looked at someone else's solution, they pretty much had like nearly 1-to-1 the same as what I had, just they implemented something a little bit differently, and the test was just expecting you to implement it that way. It did teach me a lot. I know this is going to sound like kind of a cop-out of me saying, oh, it's just how the test was structured. I was probably doing it wrong, like hand on heart, all honestly, probably just doing it wrong. But I did learn a lot. I did learn how to use the language properly, how different things in the language worked. I read the documentation to get through stuff. It was very eye-opening and like very cool trying to get through things. I really enjoyed it. There weren't hints or like things that would tell you what documentation to read, but the website, the tutorial would actually tell you, hey, here's some hints of where you can go to like figure out how to do stuff. Really cool. Really enjoyed it, and I'm hoping that this is kind of in the same style. I've got some other books that are also similar, but in different languages. There is another Rust book that I'm kind of hesitant to go to because it is by O'Reilly, where it is peer reviewed, which makes it better. But my experience with the O'Reilly books are they are better for referencing kind of like documentation, not like documentation obviously, but kind of like a textbook where if you need to look something up, it's very easy to just flip to a Riley book, find the thing you want to look for, and then just use it instead of using it for like, oh, I want to learn this language, let's see how this goes. So once I become, if you never know, maybe when I'm like actually coding in Rust, I'll like for a job, maybe I'll pick up the book, but for that one I'm gonna hold off. And then there is one book called the Ray Tracer Challenge that can be implemented in any language. The only thing is, I want to implement the Ray Tracer challenge in the language that I like the most, if that makes sense. Right now, I'd say Java and Rust are like tied top of the languages that I like. Elixir and Python and JavaScript are right at the very bottom. If you ask me to rank them, I'd say maybe Python and maybe Python's right at the very bottom. JavaScript, then Elixir. So going bottom to top, Python, JavaScript, Elixir. Then I can't choose between Java and Rust. Java is just such a nice language to use, and then Rust. Java is a nice high-level language to use that gives you the functionality to just go low level. Rust is such a nice language that's low level, that has not that high of a learning curve, so you can get up and running fairly quickly. I say fairly quickly, but I've done it over a couple of weeks, and I learned a lot. Elixir's very powerful. It's just I don't really like it so far. I don't know, when I tried out Go as well, I didn't really like Go. I think maybe it's just like the functional languages that I don't really like the Python type of languages that are kind of like this, that I don't like. But I do want to try implementing this project specifically and seeing how I get on trying to implement something that's kind of not production level, but uses that, like, what's the right word? Building out a whole project instead of just solving small challenges. That's what I want to try to do. So I want to see how this goes. Python it's okay language, I just think it's slow and I don't particularly like it. JavaScript I've tried, I think I've done some live streams or on this channel, me learning JavaScript. If I haven't, probably deleted them because I hate JavaScript. Hate is a heavy word. I don't particularly like JavaScript. I think it has its place, but I think you can do things better in other languages. And I think there is a reason why lots of people who try JavaScript then use TypeScript and then immediately realize that they don't like JavaScript. But yeah, we're gonna try this bug, implement it, and see how things get on. Yeah. If you have any good Elixir projects that are kind of like this in like a BDD or TDD style, or even a DDD style, TDD being test-driven development, BDD business-driven development, and then DDD being domain-driven development or data-driven development, please send them my way for any language in the universe. I really like these types of tutorials where it's like you have to implement it following this style just because it makes you think about it logically instead of, okay, cool, let's just start implementing it like this, and you're not really testing anything, you're not really structuring it in any way. It's just throw everything together, okay, cool, let's just group things like this and then ship it. In real production level code, you structure your code based on concerns, either business case concerns, test case concerns, or domain data driven concerns. Test case concerns is like the least likely one that you're going to be doing. It'll mainly be business driven, domain driven, or data driven concerns. These are the main three that people follow and the main three people like using, which is why I like implementing projects like this, because it kind of feels like I'm working, but at the same time I'm learning how to build something that's kind of in the same style as production level code. So if there's any recommendations for tutorials that are kind of like this in other languages, please send them my way. In the same language, please send them my way. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.
at you.